All right, we'll get started. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. We are so excited you're going to join us. I am going to do a quick introduction of my friend and my personal coach, my high performance coach. I met Christine I met through a mutual friend who I have deep respect for. She connected us and was like, I don't know why, but you two need to connect. And boy, was she's right. Christine has made massive impact in my life, and I am so excited for you. If you weren't at the Hormone Conference and you didn't get the chance to get to know Christine and her work, you're going to be blown away by this. She will bless you deeply in ways that I think this conversation, what she's going to talk about today, is wildly, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess it gets skipped a lot. I don't think a lot of, I don't know, our influence in our world, ways of the world influence the way that our nervous systems impact our hormone health, our day-to-day life, our relationships, all the really big, I don't know, things, big rocks, I call them in our life. And what Christine is going to share with us today will really help us tap back into that. And also, you're going to be able to walk away with some implementable tools today that I know are going to deeply, again, bless your life and just be able to live more vibrantly, more intentionally, and with a lot better stress resilience. And I don't know about you, but that is something I always need more of. So, without further ado, I am super excited to introduce my friend and personal coach, Christine, to you. Take it away, my friend.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Amazing intro. So honored to be with all of you today. And I'm going to start sharing my screen so I can go through some slides with you all and I can teach you some frameworks. I want to make sure everyone can see this. How's it looking on your end, Carrie? Fab. Awesome. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how you can make a mindset shift to be more resilient. And like Carrie said, deal with the pressures and demands and the stresses of life. Because, like Carrie said, she says we all need it. I need it. So I'm constantly putting this stuff into practice. So I just want to honor you for being here and know that today is going to be engaging, but also I'm going to have you work through some stuff. So if you have a notebook ready and a pen, if you don't, if you can grab one, that would be really great because I want you to leave with actual insights that you can implement right away. So we all deal with lemons, which can be challenges or setbacks or disappointments. And one of the lemons that really shaped my life and set me on a path that partially set me here today is when I got married. I just assumed that I could achieve my dream of having a kid right away. And I didn't know that infertility was a thing that people couldn't have kids. So I just thought, okay, it's my dream to have a kid. It's not everyone's dream. I wanted to be a mom. So I got married, and all of a sudden I'm like looking out at this abyss, at this like nothingness. It's not happening. What's going on? There's no kid. This is not what I planned. This was not part of my plan. And I like plans. So I went to the doctor a few years into this and got a bunch of blood work and did a bunch of tests. And she sits me down at the appointment to go over it. And she looks me in the eyes, real serious, like, that's not a good thing. Something's coming. And she goes, Christine, I know why you're struggling to have children. It's because you can't. But what? She said, look at this blood work. You have PCOS and prediabetes and adrenal dysfunction and this and this and this. She said, she looks me in the eyes and she goes, don't have hope to have your own children. And that was immediately completely devastating to hear. It's not what I thought. It's not part of my plan. So I'm looking out and I see nothing, no hope, nothing forward. That was a huge lemon. But also, there's a rebellious part of my spirit that, when someone tells me I can't do something, I go, well, I mean, like, how do you really know that's the path? So I decided that I was going to try it anyway. So here's what I did. I went on two paths in parallel at the same time. I go, I'm going to try this infertility stuff. I'm going to go through the medicines and the treatments and the shots and all the stuff. And I did that for 5 years. And at the same time, I was going to work on my health. So I worked with a functional practitioner like Carrie before I knew Carrie. Otherwise, I would have worked with her. And I decided I was going to get my health under control the best I could. So I did these two in parallel. And for 5 years, it was nothing but no's. Every single month, couldn't get pregnant, couldn't get pregnant, couldn't get pregnant. It was devastating. It was just a roller coaster. Nothing worked. But at the same time, I was working on learning how to use my biology and my health to my advantage. The power of using food and nutrition as medicine, using lifestyle changes and stress management and mindfulness and exercise and all these things to change my body. And all of a sudden, my blood work started shifting. I started feeling better. And at the end of that 5 year path, I wasn't seeing any success in my infertility, but you know what was really cool? I was feeling better and my blood work was showing that I was a lot healthier. And drum roll, please, we were no longer doing the infertility treatments because we needed a little break. And I just really wanted to focus on dialing in the last few things in my health. And I got pregnant. And I remember, thank you, iPhone 128. Sorry, I have to call you that. So this was amazing because I was shocked. Even though I did the work and I knew I was healthier, I went to the doctors and they're like, well, how'd this happen? I said, let me tell you this amazing thing. I use nutrition and lifestyle change. And they go, I don't want to hear it. But the cool thing was I got pregnant and I'm so fortunate, so blessed to become a mom. And I even have this note, as you can see here, from my doctor who said I can no longer diagnose you with PCOS. So I was really proud of that. Now, I do know that this isn't always the success story that everyone gets. So it is not lost on me that I am fortunate and I am blessed and privileged that this happened to me. I am so grateful because I did become a mom. I have gone on this journey and I love it. I'm so grateful. Now, I was able to become a mom, but it also taught me so much. And honestly, at the time, it sucked. It was so hard. It was an emotional roller coaster that I wouldn't have chosen then, but I'm so glad it happened for me because it taught me that I can take control of my own body, of my own mindset. I can learn how to change things. I can be the captain of my ship. And that mindset shift has enabled me to navigate so many other storms in life, in my career, and in building a business, and being married, and being a mom. So, if you have kids or you're around kids like nieces and nephews, you know that it starts off so glorious. And then soon, they're very, very soon, they're hitting you in the head with rocks. Like literally, this was my son hitting me in the head with a rock. But that's okay. It was all for fun. He was very little. And the reality is, and as women, even if you don't have a kid or you're dealing with children in your life, you're dealing with a lot of stress. You're managing some stuff. So like raise your hand or put in the chat if you're dealing with some stuff. You're dealing with maybe work or caring for aging parents or animals or family members, or you have a partner, demands at work. There's a lot of invisible weight that women carry. A lot of invisible weight of making all these decisions, of having to manage all these little micro things that stack up and take a lot of time and energy, a lot. And I was feeling that too. So I had my child, and then I'm also a co-director of an entrepreneurial nonprofit. We're building this business. It was fast paced. And then I decided a few years later to start my own business. And then COVID hits, and there's all these pressures. And I had to learn the tools to be able to manage it because I realized that stress was shaping how I showed up, and it wasn't always good. It was often that things looked foggy ahead, that I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have clarity, that I wasn't leading a clear path for others in my family or my coworkers. And it really made me feel like I wasn't showing up at my best. And I realized that when you are under stress, you can either contract, hunker down, restrict into survival mode, or you can expand, kind of open up, shift up, and grow from what you're going through. And I'd love for you to just take a quick moment right now to just shift your posture into something more expansive. Roll your shoulders back, take a deep breath in. Imagine you're trying to get sun across your chest. Lift your neck up and have your ribs go up towards your neck and take a deep breath in so it fills you expansively. Feel the difference there? Let's be expansive today already as we make some shifts together. So do that again. Open up, roll the shoulders back, sun across your chest, breathe in and deeply across your chest, and then blow it all out. This is so important because expansiveness is the shift. Because when you're contracting, restricting, you're snapping at people in your family, you're impatient, You maybe get stuck overthinking things, you shut down, or you numb yourself. You could be a people pleaser or trying to do it all. And that's when it really stacks up. Expansion looks more like you do your pauses to breathe and open up your chest. You ask for help. You tell the truth, even if it might sting a little bit. You ask for and receive the support. You choose to be present in the moment, even though your mind wanders. And then you trust yourself. You rebuild that trust with yourself, that inner voice that us women have that we often don't believe or we don't listen to, and you rebuild it. And when that happens, it allows you to see every challenge, every lemon that hits you as a crossroads, not a dead end, but as a crossroads. You get to choose step forward or shrink back. And I like adventures. I like going on hikes, you guys. So I'm going to choose that path. I want to go forward. And that's where I want to take us today, down that path. So have a little adventure in your spirit today as we go through here, because when you're navigating life, the goal isn't to have this perfect, cushy life where no challenges ever hit you. That is
Hello.
not possible. And hi, Trisha. And I want you to think about this. You're not a monk in a cave meditating for 8 hours a day. I mean, that could be your thing. I don't know. You're on Zoom, so I don't think it is. But what we're going to do is we're going to imagine like you're in the ocean, you're swimming, and the wave just crashes and it hits you in the face and crashes and hits you. And you come up for air, you get that gasp and you get hit again. That's just flailing. That's in your survival mode. We want you to get up on the board. So the surfboard of life, where you can kind of ride that in and see from a different vantage point, we're going to make that shift today so you can ride the waves. And this is important because the waves you deal with all the time can be demanding. It could be you're balancing a million things. You've got post-it notes all over the place. I do. You're trying to show up with presence and influence at work or lead a team or lead your family, or you're just stressed out by social media, the news, email, all that kind of stuff are waves. Oops, sorry. That's really weird. Where did it go? Interesting. Wait, don't look. Wait, we have a quick technical difficulty. I need to start over. This is interesting. Let me see how I do this. And it somehow just okay. Close your eyes. I'm going to zoom over. I don't want you to get a peek into all my slides. For anyone who's just listening, I had a quick little jump to the end of my slide deck. There we go. So waves of life. Let's go back there. See, that was just like a little wave that knocked me off my board. I just hopped right back on. So we're going to surf right in there. So when we think about learning to be more resilient, it's grounding ourselves in the moment. It's shifting our mindset. And it's also sometimes when you fall, you got to get back up. Sometimes you need to ask someone to help you get back up. So we're going to think about right now a lemon that you're dealing with, because through this process today, I'm going to help you actually squeeze the most opportunity out of a lemon, a challenge. Stir it up with some sugar and turn it into something that you can use for your advantage. So to start off, I want you to think about and reflect on what's a lemon you're navigating right now. Jot that down. If you want to follow along, you certainly don't have to. You can do whatever you want to do, but if you want to leave with some insights, feel free to follow along and use this as a self-reflection moment. Once you have your lemon, whatever that is, challenge, setback, frustration, where you're stuck, pop it in the chat. You're going to be surprised to see there's similarities, and there's also lemons that people are dealing with right now that you're like, oh, I've been through that before. I get that. So I'll wait a minute while you think if you can pop a lemon in there. If you're not comfortable with sharing your current lemon, you could share maybe a lemon that someone, a friend maybe is going through, asking for a friend. Okay, lack of business growth. Thank you, Joanna. That can be stressful. That can feel like a wave. Carrie, a really challenging schedule, a lot of demands and needs to be met in management of it all. Yes, that juggling, tough. Thank you for sharing, Carrie. House construction moving slowly. Oh, isn't it always? It takes 3 times as long, but it's frustrating when you want to live in that house or use those rooms that are under construction. Parenting a 14-year-old who has a lot going on, trying not to ride his waves and my own. Ooh, that's a good one. I love that perspective. That's multifaceted. Parenting a 14-year-old on its own. One who has a lot going on. That's another part. And then try not to ride his waves and my own. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, anyone else? Great. So these are some challenges that you're dealing with. I love that. Thank you for sharing. So you've got your lemon, and we're going to dive into our shift. Now, before we do that, I'm going to give you this overview. Don't worry about jotting all this down. I'm going to walk you through this step by step. And after, I'll pop in the chat the PDF of this so you can print it out and have it. So don't worry about it right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through an actual recipe, a step-by-step framework that's super simple that'll help you take that lemon and challenge and find a micro step at the end of it that'll help you move forward with momentum, solving a problem in a different perspective. And the background, just so you're aware, I'm trained in high performance, neuroscience, mental fitness, and conscious leadership. So it's science-backed frameworks that I've taken high level and distilled down into this more digestible format into a recipe for you. And I want you to know it's coming from science and great frameworks, but it's something simple you could use. All right, so as we dive into this, I am going to, though, touch a little bit on the neuroscience because I think it's so important to understand what's going on in your brain and body, what happens automatically without you even knowing quite often, because then you could better manage your state and that'll help you deal with your challenges better. So if you can nerd out with me on the neuroscience, take a look at this slide. This is the change curve. As you can see, this is the rate of change, and this is time. The world is here. The world's always changed. It's always going to change. We can't control that. But as you can see lately, it has had a huge spike in change. Look how fast change has gone up. And humans, we've adapted to change just fine. But as you can see, with the rate of technology and globalization and things advancing fast, we had this fast uptick, and humans are just plugging along, still adapting at their same old pace. And what are you seeing here? Pop it in the chat. What are you seeing as the result of these two not meeting up? Anyone? Anyone? Pop in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's all right. We don't have to pop in the chat. I'll tell you. Here's what's happening. So this right here, this gap is showing that we haven't adapted and evolved fast enough. We don't have the tools and resources to be able to deal with the rate of change. And so we get under stress. Now, the nice thing is, over the last decade, there have been new tools that have come out. So I'm going to be bringing you tools to close this gap. But what's going on in your brain is that when you feel, your brain feels that your demands are greater than your resources, and demands on you could be real or perceived. Your resources are your time, your money, your energy, people, support. It puts you into a reactive state. And when you're in a reactive state, it shuts off the creative state, the creative part of your brain that solves problems. When your brain believes that resources are greater than demands, you're fine. Everything's great. But has anyone ever experienced where a deer has crossed the road and it stops? And it's that deer in headlights thing. That's your fight, flight, or freeze. That's your survival mechanism. And what happens is your body automatically goes into fight, flight, or freeze. And what that can look like is you fight back, you freeze, means procrastination, you can't make a decision, you're foggy in your mind, or you flee, you run away, you avoid, you don't handle the thing. See how that can show up in your life? That happens automatically. So what happens is your intentionality goes offline. It's almost like when you're on your phone or on your computer and you're trying to do some work or watch something and you get kicked off Wi-Fi. You're like, whoa, what just happened? And you can't do anything. This is your intentionality goes offline in your brain. Now, here's a little bit of the neuroscience that I want to show you. Your amygdala is that survival part of your brain that gets activated in fight or flight. And when that happens, you're not in your prefrontal cortex. So if you want to say and practice this when you're at home by yourself, it's really like a real sexy word. So you got to say prefrontal cortex, right? So your prefrontal cortex is your CEO or creative center of your brain. That's where you're calm, clear-headed, laser focused. You're running and you're making decisions. But when you're in your amygdala and the fear center, you're not in your prefrontal cortex. So, oh my, I'm doing it again. So I'm sorry I just went back to the very end of my slides. I usually do PowerPoint, but I thought I would try this out. And you're just gonna have to bear with me. Thank you so much. I apparently need to practice on being in a public view for my Canva presentation. I'm used to being in PowerPoint. That's okay. We got it, right? Okay, we're back. There we go. So looking at where you are, if you're stuck in your reactive state, that's when you're feeling shame, guilt, fear, anger, frustration, self-doubt. You get stuck with inaction. That's what we call the lizard brain. That's that primal part of you. Now, if you're in your CEO prefrontal cortex, you're feeling curious, empathetic, innovative, calm, clear-headed, laser-focused action. Is this resonating with you? If so, put an emoji in the chat and let's see if this is landing for you. Because this happens automatically to all of us. And I'm sure you've experienced it. So if you have, pop an emoji in the chat, just so I know you're still here with me. And we're all here on the same page. Thank you, Carrie. Awesome. Bring those in. See, this is something that we've all experienced. And a lot of times as women, we think we're on an island and it's just us. There's something wrong with us, that we're feeling this way. All the reactive. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that lizard brain can make us feel stuck. What happens is your stress that you're dealing with, all that invisible load, the things you're carrying, it triggers your nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system, to think that everything is a risk. It's scanning for threats, scanning for threats. And even if it's a stress you can manage or it's minor, your body doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know the difference between that social media post that triggered you and a saber-toothed tiger that it thinks will kill you outside your house. Keep in mind, saber-toothed tigers are extinct, but still, that's our evolution. That's the lizard brain in us. It's looking for threats. Oh, Jillian finally figured out how to respond in the chat. Awesome. See, look at that. You tapped into your prefrontal cortex and solved a problem. Amazing. Now, my friends, this is biology. You're not broken. So if you've ever felt that way, it's just because this happens automatically, and I want to give you tools to manage it so you can choose a more responsive state instead of being in a reactive state. So here's another moment of reflection to jot down a note. We all have bad hair days like the squirrel. We all have moments where we don't show up at our best. We're more reactive than responsive. Be honest with yourself. How does that show up for you? So if you're not aware of this, we can't change this. Now, don't judge yourself. This is a space for grace. Assess yourself. Be honest about it. Do not shame yourself. Jot down what changes for you. Are you showing up a little frenzied like this squirrel here? Are you impatient? Are you closed-minded? Do you stop asking for help? What is it? What happens for you? And jot that down and also put it in the chat. What's your state? For me, I get impatient and angry. Those are two different states, but depends on what's going on. That's my reactive state. Those will be my go-tos if my lizard brain has their way. And it happens. And I notice that and I'm aware of it so I can manage it. So what happens for you? You get stuck. Thank you, Joanna. Or answer for your friend if you are just, still asking for a friend. It could just be you're thinking about what your friend would say. I struggle much more than when I'm tired. Yes. Shut down, hold it in my body, hide, opposite of who I want to be and how I want to show up. Overwhelmed and freeze. Honoring you for sharing this. I'm sure we can all relate to this. And there's times where you might feel all of this or just some of this. I wrestle with fear and sensory sensitivity. I'm slowed down and become impatient. Yes. Amazing. Well, welcome to humanity. This is normal. Remember, you're not broken. This is just what happens. And so we're going to take this and we're going to use this to help you make a shift. A few more came down. Shut down, just stop asking for help, or also hurt, frustrated, put on a brave face. Awesome. Amazing. So as we move forward, this is where you're taking your self-awareness and now we're going to apply the recipe. So we're diving into the recipe now. I'm going to walk you through this step by step. And the first thing we have to do is shift our state. This is important because you have superpowers already. You already have the ability to be curious and courageous and creative and solve these problems, patient and present. But remember, they go offline if you're in that amygdala. And when that happens is we need to shift our state first. That's the first step before even trying to solve the problem. Because when you're able to do that, you can bring your prefrontal cortex back online. Your breath is the bridge. I'm sure you've heard it over and over again. Do your breath work. Take a breath. We tell kids that all the time. Breathe, right? And we forget that that's so powerful. You start your life with a breath and you end your life with a breath. And in between, we forget and we get shallow in our breathing. We hunch over, we clench, and we don't fully activate that breath. So today I'm going to teach you a practice to help you do that. Because the breath is the bridge from a reactive to a responsive creative state. I'm going to teach you a 3-step nervous system shift. So this is a practice. If you're happening to be walking or doing something else or driving, don't close your eyes when I go through that part. You can keep those open. And this is something you can come back to again and again to practice and completely shift from your sympathetic nervous system, a fight or flight, into your parasympathetic, which is your rest and digest. And this is so critical because your nervous system is regulating everything. And if you can't shift, all you'll do is continue to carry and stack on the stress and build up and build up. And that's going to keep you stuck. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to guide you through this. So let's get comfortable, shift your state, roll your shoulders back again and get comfy and put your feet firmly on the ground. If they're in shoes, socks, or slippers, just wiggle your toes and ground your feet right now. Notice the sensation of your feet, of you being where your feet are right now. And then I want you to gaze across the horizon, if that's out your window, or if you're outside, or just across your room. But shift your gaze from the screen over to something farther away that you didn't notice before. I'm looking out my window right now, way beyond the trees. And just shift that gaze farther away. And as you gaze across to the horizon, say to yourself in your mind or out loud, I am safe in this moment. I am safe in this moment. I am safe in this moment. Quite often, our brains worry about the past or get stuck there, or they worry or catastrophize about the future. This brings you back to the present and reminds your nervous system right now, in this moment, you're safe. To say, I am safe in this moment. And then place one or both hands on your heart or on your chest, just so you can notice the rising and falling of your chest. And slow down the breath and see if you can feel your heartbeat there. Maybe give it a little thanks for doing that work all day and night without you asking it. It's always good to be grateful to our hearts. All you have to do right now is be. You're not performing, you're not doing anything, just notice and be present. Connect in. And start to slow down the pace of your breath. Start to make more deep, high quality breaths. And then I'm going to guide you through just a minute or two of what's called the perfect breath. This is where you take each inhale for 5 counts, each exhale for 5 counts. And over the course of about 90 seconds, it does a full shift into your parasympathetic nervous system. I'll guide you through it to teach you. If it's a little odd at first, that's normal. Lean into that resistance and just keep breathing. It will shift for you. So I'm going to guide you through this and pace it out. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're doing great. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now you can just notice what you are experiencing in this moment. And pop that in the chat or give me an emoji, either a word or your experience or how you're feeling with an emoji. I'd love to hear what shifted for you, what you experienced. For me, just guiding it, I feel more grounded, more present. Great. Thank you for sharing grounded, calm. What else? Peaceful. Little more peace, calm, myself, still. Great language. So this is, as those, keep those coming in, as we reflect on that experience, this is a simple nervous system shift. Ooh, honestly peaceful, yet guilty for taking time for myself. Calm, relaxed, and quiet. And that's okay. Just notice and allow that guilt or that sensation, and then breathe through that. Sometimes we have old patterns of feeling guilty based on old beliefs that it's selfish or bad to take care of ourselves. Just know that those are old beliefs that don't necessarily serve you anymore. As women, we often build these beliefs in our head, and these thoughts of guilt come up. They're old programming that just keep us stuck in an old pattern. So as you are giving yourself the grace and space today to be here, honor the fact that you are here and know that you can choose to repattern, to reprogram that. And over time, the more you do this, the easier it gets, the more normal it is, and it reprograms your brain. So I know that when I started off doing this work, the guilt came out a lot. And once you reprogram yourself, those beliefs and those habits, it'll go away. So give yourself some time and some grace for that. Just honor yourself for being here today. I love this. Okay, beautiful. Calmness, but oddly, my left leg stayed tense until I realized in the last breath it released. That's really great awareness, because sometimes we do hold tension in our body and you notice it at the very end. So if you ever feel that you're still tense, take some breath and imagine that breath going through that body part as well, especially in your shoulders. We hold a lot in our hips as women. So practice this. It's a practice. It is something that gets easier with time. And the beauty is, if you breathe and you can center yourself, then you're going to show up better for yourself, but for your family, for your kids, your spouse, your coworkers, everyone around you. So this practice isn't just for you, it's for your ripple effect. That's why it's so important. Okay, so that's the first most important part of your recipe. Because once you're in this state, we can now dive into the challenge with clarity. And clarity is really important because a lot of times we don't really know why we're stuck. We don't understand why we're frustrated or we're hesitating. That's because it's like getting dumped in the middle of a trail with no compass to know where north is and no trail map. And it's foggy. So if you don't have clarity, then you can't make the best decision. And the people that are following you also don't know where they're going. So this is where we're going to get a lot of clarity on what specifically is your lemon. This is where you can jot it down as well. Reflect on this. Reflect on what specifically is the challenge that you're dealing with. Now, don't put, I'm annoyed with my spouse. I'm frustrated at work. What exactly is your challenge? Do you feel like you're not being recognized at work with the promotion or pay raise that you want? Are you frustrated because you feel unseen and unvalued by your spouse? Are you holding back on making a decision because you feel scared and overwhelmed about it? What is it? Get really clear on it because remember, this is like your map, your North Star moving forward that we're going to work through. As you're doing that, I just wanted to address a couple questions that came through in the chat about deep breathing. So deep breathing is good, but feel some days that's all I would be doing. Absolutely. In our stressful world, you will do those deep breaths all the time. Sometimes I have to reset myself every 10 minutes in my day when I'm dealing with a lot of pressures, a lot of challenges, caregiving for family members, stresses, grief, and that's okay. Some days aren't going to be as heavy, but even if you take a slow, deep breath one time for a count of five and one for a count, exhale for a count of five, in that moment, it's going to ground you. So know that this doesn't mean you have to go sit down and be really formal. You can do some breath work while you walk. You can go to the restroom at work and take some breaths while you're on the toilet. I mean, I do breath work before every presentation when I travel around the United States, and I don't always have a space to go. So I go to the bathroom, I do some breath work, and I do some jumps in there. Sometimes people walk in on me, and I'm in the middle of the bathroom squatting, doing air squats, and doing breath work. I don't care. I need to get ready. I need to get in the right state. So just give yourself permission to play around with it in whatever way works for you and go for it. And then also you mentioned box breathing. Yep, there's other breathwork techniques. Insert any that you love. I have found that the perfect breath is the easiest one to teach, and it's super simple. Box breathing is amazing too. So one of my clients, that's her favorite. It's her go-to, and she uses that instead of all the other stuff I've taught her. So feel free to look up lots of techniques, try them out, and see what works. Modify. Awesome. Great questions. Thank you so much. So now that we have your lemon, we got to check the ripeness and see how it's affecting you. So sometimes our mood, our thoughts, and our energy can be a little more Jim from The Office, a little more calm and playful. And sometimes we Dwight out and get a little rageful, a little bit worked up. That's all right. Think about this because we need to make a shift from that emotional Dwight out into more of a calm, intentional state. So how is it impacting you? Be honest, jot it down. How is this lemon really impacting you so we can know where you're at and be aware of it? So jot that down. This is where now that you're aware and you have clarity, you take ownership. Because if we allow the challenges of life to take over, then we have no command. We don't have ownership. And the reality is, if you're a boat out at sea, you can't control the winds. You can't control the storms, but you can adjust your sails. And that's the mindset shift I want to teach you to make. When you do that, when you become the captain of your ship, you're not a victim. You're the captain. You're the one navigating through, and you're the one making choices. And this opens up possibility and hope. It's so important to be able to take those micro steps forward, those 1-degree shifts. Because if you make one tiny shift, it can send you on a different path. If you're a boat out at sea and you make a 1-degree shift, it can send you thousands of miles in another location. So this is really important to think about. As you're making this shift in your mindset, sometimes we just need to reframe our perspective. Because a lot of times our suffering is stuck here. It's in how we see it. And a huge shift is really thinking about the language we're using and the questions we ask ourselves. You know, if you're doing yoga or you're exercising, you literally shift your perspective on what you see if you're in downward dog. This is what we're doing right now. So instead of asking yourself, well, why is this happening to me? Ask yourself, why is this happening for me? Instead of, oh, why again is this person doing this to me again? Why is that person annoying me again? Why is this happening to me? Shift the question. One word, and it changes everything. It opens up so much. Why is this happening for me? And that shifts you into thinking about what can this moment grow in you? Because every challenge is an opportunity to plant a seed, to water it, and to grow something. So what's the gift? What's the lesson? What's the opportunity? Sometimes you can't see those until after. But if you're dealing with a lemon, ask yourself now, maybe there is something you can see today. And as you're doing this, it's really important to stay curious. It's easy. Our inner judge, we all have our inner judges. that judges ourselves and others and circumstances, and that can shut us down. So just like Judge Judy will shut us down into a spiral of shame, that's not going to help you solve any problems. So if you notice that, get curious. Watch a child. They are in such a state of raw curiosity all the time, and that's your superpower. You still have it. Just because that muscle may have weakened with adulting and stress doesn't mean it's not there, right? You have it. You just need to strengthen that muscle a little bit and activate it. And to do that, it'll allow you to not just meet your challenge with frustration and judgment and shame and guilt, but to look at it with some curiosity. So think about what that could shift for you if you did that. What's your reframe? So this is where you jot down, based on these ideas, how could you shift that narrative in your head about your story, your challenge? What would shift for you? What are you going to reframe this as? Jot that down. And if you don't know today, when we get off this call, think about it some more. Go for a walk. Ask yourself. It'll come to you. But this is really important because unless we change the words going on in our head, we aren't going to be able to change our actions. Your thoughts always precede your actions, which then lead to results. So if you want different results, you got to back up and start with the thoughts you're feeding yourself. Just like it's so important to feed yourself nourishing food, drink your water, take your supplements. What you talk about in your head is so important for your mindset and the rest of your life. Okay, now we're getting near the end. This is where the good stuff comes in. We're stirring it up. We're going to get some action going. This is important because you may have gained insights. You may have some knowledge, but without taking action, it just is an idea. It's an insight. It's like the book on the shelf that gathers dust, the podcast you didn't listen to, the training you didn't do. It's okay. We all have those things, but this is the opportunity where you get to make a commitment. And what I love is about this quote is it's so true. James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Isn't that beautiful? And each action can be small. In fact, I want you to think small. Right now, what's your micro action, your micro step? What's that one small 1 degree shift you want to make that will take you on a new path forward? This is the power because this is what's going to take you on that new path. What's one thing you can do? The low-hanging fruit. Not the biggest thing, not 10 things. Don't give me a list of 10, 20, 30, 40. You got enough lists. Today, what's the little micro step? Put this in the chat. Oh, we already got one coming through. Forgive myself. No, I'm doing good. Calling a dumpster to physically toss out trash. Yeah, let's do it. What else? What's your micro shift that you're committing to today? What do you know will be the most powerful shift you can make? Keep thinking about that. Put those in the chat. If you don't want to share, maybe put an emoji in. Is this landing for you? Are you excited about making a shift? So throw an emoji in there. If I see a poop one, then I'll know it's not landing. That's okay. Maybe if you put in a different one that tells me how you're experiencing this right now, put some stuff in the chat right now and we'll see where you guys are going and how we can wrap this up with a lot of momentum. And you might still be thinking, and that's okay. Consistently, intentionally staying aware of moving into curious mode. That has helped so much. Lovely. That's so great. Thank you, Carrie. Beautiful. Feel free to keep those coming in. Allow those to keep coming in. And if you have any other ideas that come to you, pop them in the chat. Okay. Now, I want you to think about and reflect on a word that is coming to mind right now, something you want to carry forward with you. Because what we did today was we got clear on the lemon after we made the shift. We reframed it. We looked for a lesson, a gift, or an opportunity. We then committed to a micro shift. I love Atomic Habits. Yes, I do too. It's great. I'm seeing if any other comments come in the chat. And as you move forward, you now have a framework that you can use. So I'm going to actually put it in the chat. See if I can put it in the chat right now. If I can attach it for you. I don't think I can. So we'll get this to you after. I'll send you the PDF. What you can do is you can print it out. You can post it somewhere or you could save it on your phone. And when you feel stuck, then open that up and walk yourself through it. Jot a few notes down and help you shift. Practice that over and over again. Or just practice that 3-step system to reset your nervous system. So I'm seeing curiosities on your mind. Life gave you some lemons, but my Jesus, he'd be making lemonade. Oh yeah, that's yeah. Carrie, yep, your song. That's right. I love that. Thanks, Cam. Thanks for the reminder of that. It's beautiful. I should play that song more often. Yeah, send us all info. Lovely. Okay, so pop in the chat. What's your one word you want to carry with you? What's landing for you? What's resonating with you that you want to remember as you move forward after this session? Pop that in the chat. Just your one word. Micro shift. Breathe. People might still be thinking. Okay, a few more coming in. Relax. Live my best self. Consistency. Relax. Beautiful. Keep them coming in. I love it. And know that as these are coming in, what we'll do is at the end, when we stop the recording at the very end, we'll stay on. And if you have questions or you want to run things by us, we'll do a Q&A then. So just keep that in mind. If you have any more questions as you're reflecting. So we got some more words. Consistency, relax, lemonade, rewire, resilient. Awesome. I love it. Great. Okay. So one more practice as we wrap it up. This is a gift for you. And it's something that I hope you can do more often in your days. So if you'd like, if you're comfortable, place your hand on your heart one more time, even close your eyes or gaze softly downward, because I want to honor you. I want to thank you for showing up here today, for doing this work, for making the shifts, for showing up with engagement and presence and honesty. I know that's not always easy, but I hope you can think about something right now that you want to honor about yourself. And in your heart, right here, feel that gratitude for yourself, because I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for who you are and what you bring to the world and what you brought here today. And just say to yourself, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Honoring you for being awesome, and just want to thank you. And as you think about that next shift you're going to make, it starts now. It doesn't start tomorrow. It starts today if you want it to start. And if you love today's experience, I'd love to see any emojis you want to put in there, or any comments. Please feel free. I know how supportive it can feel to be around other women. And if you love how this feels, if you'd love to have this kind of space for you every other week for 3 months, Carrie and I would love to invite you to something we're excited to share. We created for women just like you. It's a group coaching experience. It's designed for women who are ready to shift out of stress and the nervous system overload and just the constantly pushing through and into more confidence and peace and well-being. So Carrie and I are excited to bring our superpowers together in one supportive container. Carrie's bringing in her expertise with women's health and hormones. I'll bring in my work in mental fitness and nervous system regulation and self-leadership. And together we'll support you in making small, sustainable shifts that help you not just survive the season of life, but feel like yourself again. And logistically, we meet every other week for 3 months. Each session, we share practical tools, frameworks. We do real coaching on places you feel stuck, and we create meaningful connections with other women who are walking the same path. So it's not about adding one more thing to do on your plate to make you feel overwhelmed. It's about coming back to yourself and making small, sustainable shifts one at a time, week after week, micro shifts that stack up. So we want you to feel more clear-headed and grounded and confident and just see the changes that show up everywhere because it won't be just in you, it'll be showing up in your ripple effect with your kids and your partner and your other family members and your work. And that's the real power that we love to share. It's that ripple effect because when you feel better, you show up better and everyone around you feels that. So if something shifted for you today and you don't want it to disappear when life gets busy again, this experience might be the right step. Feel free to check it out. Carrie, actually, can you put the link in? If you want to listen to the little nudge, we encourage you to. Carrie's going to put the chat. If you want to explore the program or sign up, we'd be honored to support you in this next season. Thank you so much for being here and letting me share my lemonade shift. It's been such an honor. And back over to you, Carrie.
Okay, sorry, the first link I sent, it was not the right one, so I'm fixing that. I don't, it's weird. That one's being super funny. So
I'll
anyway,
delete
there
the
we go.
first
I
one
think that
too.
one worked. If it didn't, guys, let me know if maybe can somebody can click on that. There's some more info there. But mostly I want to make sure, first I want to say, Christine, thank you so much for one, re-recording this from the whole hormone conference recording that didn't get done. This turned into a huge blessing that we could do this again and invite so many more people into it. It was fun to see the engagement happened on social media, just like 35 people being so interested because I think this is something that gets so skipped. And just so you guys know, one of the reasons I was so excited about bringing Christine into the hormone conference originally, it was like a non-negotiable for me, like if she and I could logistically make it happen because her work genuinely changed my life. Like I usually will cry when I talk about it because I would not have been able to go from where I was to where I am, like from an emotional standpoint and just from a stress resilience standpoint and just overall like well-being. And I think I would have damaged really precious relationships without the tools that she has helped me with. I think our business, just from a professional standpoint, wouldn't have the success that it has grown into over the last year and a half that she and I have been working together because I feel like we're better employers and people and all of the relationships that we're responsible for in this life. I knew all of that was coming from my personal work with Christine. And I always think every time I have a woman in my office, like, man, I get to do this with Christine. Like, oh, I need to send this person to do it with her. So, this opportunity that Christine and I are collaborating on is really an opportunity for all those women, all of you guys who I watch struggle. Honestly, I don't know what else to say with connecting those dots. I know what it feels like I spent 12 years in therapy and my time, I mean this, guys, my time with work, Christine over the period of time I've had with her has changed my life more than 12 years of intense therapy. That's just truth. So, I know what it feels like to feel like you're doing all the things right and still feeling stuck. Um, so I encourage you, if any of that resonates with you, check out the website, connect with Christine or I, and ask questions about this opportunity that we're proposing and offering. It's going to be high value. Christine, like she said, travels all over the world and works with big teams and her gifts, guys, like you're only just getting like a sprinkle on top of your ice cream cone, like in this call today. And I want you guys to have more weight of what she offers. I think she does a really good job here, like illustrating it, but like I said, it's like a sprinkle, guys. There's so much good stuff on the other side of that, and bringing that together with how it impacts your hormones. Remember, when stress hits the brain, it tells your hypothalamus to tell your pituitary to tell your adrenals what happens there. And when you're hormonally dysregulated, if we can't navigate that and improve that side with peace and confidence and clarity and just a whole better balance on the nervous system side of things, we can't out supplement that. We can't out hormone that. Like it brings and restores so much to that whole piece. So with that, please check out the link. Did anybody get a chance to check that link to make sure it worked? Works. I go, oh shoot. Okay. Um,